Example 2, soil that contains 30% clay is added to soil that contains 70% clay to create 10 gallons of soil containing 50% clay. How much of each of the soils was combined? So I'm going to write out in words, and then we're going to put in numbers, and then we'll solve. So I'm going to take my first soil amount, and we times that by the percentage of clay in that first soil. And then we're going to add to it the second soil amount. And we multiply that by the percent of clay in that second amount. And then we get the total amount. And that also results in the total percent of clay. Okay, so let's go back to our problem. It says that a soil contains 30% clay. So we don't know how much soil. I'm going to go ahead and give it a variable. But I do know that this is 30% clay. I don't know this amount either. I keep writing the wrong side. Plus, I'm not sure on that one. I don't want to use another variable yet, so I'm going to leave it blank. I can come back to it. Is 70% clay. I know that it is 70% clay. And my total amount I know is 10 gallons, and that it is 50% clay. So if I know my total amount is 10 and I use up X here, the second soil amount would be my total minus the X. All right, so now we're going to rewrite this and then we can solve. All right, so we have X times 0.3 plus 10 minus X times 0.7 equals 10 times 0.5. Now we're going to do some simplifying. When I multiply these together, I get 0.3x. This is where we have to do that distributive property. So we're going to distribute this 0.7 to the 10 and to the x. So we get 7 minus 0.7x. And when I multiply here, I get 5. All right, now this 0.3x is the same thing as this 0.7x. So these are like terms, so we're going to combine those like terms together. So I have a positive 0.3x and a negative 0.7x. So I end up with a negative 0.4x, and I still have this plus 7, and that equals 5. So to solve for this unknown, I have to address this addition first. So do the opposite and subtract. So we get negative 0.4x is equal to negative 2. Now we can divide. And we use our calculator. We get that that is equal to 5. So now we go back up and look at our amounts. So the first soil, the amount was x. So the first soil amount was simply 5. Our second soil amount was 10 minus x. Was 10 minus x. So if I put in that value of 5 for my x, I get 10 minus 5, which is 5. So actually they were equal amounts. So we're going to say 5 gallons of each soil were added.